Testing, testing, testing. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pocomoke City Mayor and Council Work Session. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, and it is 7 p.m. We are going to go ahead and get started. We don't want to prolong our evening any longer than what it's going to be. So at this time, we're going to start with our nonprofits. Please come forward, state the name of your nonprofit. You can give us a little bit of information, and you can even tell us your ask. Our first nonprofit is Joshua Nordstrom, representing Della's Closet.
Good evening, Joshua Nordstrom, Della's Closet. Thank you all for having me today. And I want to start off by saying thank you for your contribution last year. It was well received and has been well used. What you have in front of you is a packet to review with some of the things that were requested. First, you have the request letter. Secondly, you have a list of events that we have done, food distribution events for the fiscal year, most of which were used, that grant money was used for. You can see that notated on the right-hand column. You have some financials going back to last year, and then a rudimentary budget that we have put together that we are going to be adding to, changing, and adopting between now and the start of the new fiscal year in July. Again, thank you for having me. A little background on these food distribution programs, if you're unfamiliar. I started working with an organization called Lower Shore Vulnerable Populations Task Force during the pandemic in 2020. And we did about 3 years, almost maybe a little longer than 3 years, of food distribution events once every couple of months in Pocomoke, but also in various parts of Worcester County and Somerset County and Wycomico County. This was a hastily thrown together organization, a loose conglomeration of individuals and nonprofits and government entities that once the pandemic was over, there was no funding. So the first place they cut was Pocomoke. And I said, we are the place of the greatest need on the Eastern Shore. And I don't think these people, our friends, our neighbors, should go without food like they've become accustomed to, just because the pandemic is starting to wane. So I spoke with Pocomoke Middle School and the community garden. We formed a partnership called the Pocomoke Food Pantry Cooperative. And we started to do some food distribution events. We started at once a quarter. Once we received some funding from the city, we moved into a monthly to do these events every month. So that was our goal. That was always my goal, was to do these once a month. Now the food bank had undergone a lot of changes during the months that we were doing these things, and they required you to be something called Pantry on the Go certified, which the middle school was not, and the community garden was not. And the middle school showed no interest in going from 4 months a year to 12. So I decided to apply for the Pantry on the Go status and the network partner status with the Maryland Food Bank. And after a lot of paperwork and a lot of discussion, we were granted that. So we started operating the food distribution events under Della's Closet right around the end of the year, and perhaps the first of this year in January. And we have been able to do them every month, and we'll continue to do them every month going forward. Della's Closet is right here in Pocomoke, 1603 Market Street. We provide people with clothing and food, but for today's purposes, we're focusing on the food distribution program that was funded partially by the city last year. Della's Closet is a 501c3. It also is a Maryland Food Bank Network partner and a Maryland Food Bank Pantry on the Go designation. Our current situation, as I said, we've moved to a 12-month model, and we will be continuing to do that. Because I think that people, even though we can't feed them all the time, if we give them an opportunity to catch up on their bills by not having to go to the grocery store for 1 week out of the month, I think we're making some progress there. And we have had a really great turnout every time we've done these. In fact, we're helping over 100 families and over 400 people total every time we go out on Saturday. And like I said, we're doing it once a month. Our next one is coming up this Saturday. If you have not been out, and I think Councilman Marshall were coming out last month to see these, we are at First Baptist Church on Saturday mornings. This month is on the 12th. As I said, this Saturday coming up. We start at 8 a.m. Volunteers show up at 8:30, and our food distribution is from 10 to 12. So please come out and see it if you want. If you want to volunteer, come down at 8:30. We'd love to have you. As I said, we're serving more than 100 families and 400 people every time we do one of these events. The changes that have taken place here, because we've become a Maryland Food Bank partner, means we don't have to buy food retail from Walmart anymore. So we're able to cut our costs because the food from the food bank is sometimes free, and if it's not, it's less expensive than buying it retail from Walmart or Food Line or anywhere else. So with the money that was given last year, the $10,000, where I could only do 8 to 10 months, now I can do 12 with that same amount of money. Now it does vary because some things are free one month, some things are not free in other months, and they stop bringing us protein, they stop bringing us chicken, they stop bringing us pork, they stop bringing us all kinds of things that we were giving out, and just bringing us the vegetables, and we were purchasing canned goods. But because we're a Maryland Food Bank partner, I can now order these things through Maryland Food Bank. So we've been able to reintroduce proteins, beef, pork, chicken, and fish at our event starting last month, and we plan to do that going forward. So we are committed to doing it every month. We expect our lines to get longer, and they seem to every single month. That just shows the need in this community. But we're going to continue to do it. And in fact, instead of giving out 100 bags of vegetables and 100 bags of groceries, now we're up to 120 of each, not to mention fish, chicken, and other proteins every single month that we do this. So I have a great crew. It's a great location to do it. And I tell you what, we've got a great routine down. If you haven't seen it, come and check it out this weekend or next month, because it's a pretty good looking, pretty smooth operation. So again, thank you. I'd like to formally request that you renew that $10,000 grant from last year. The program is needed and the city support is needed to continue. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh, wait,
I have a question.
are there any questions for Mr. Nordstrom?
I do. Can you explain to me the difference between the pantry and the closet, please?
The closet has to do with the clothes and the, if you're looking at the budget or the financials, the closet has to do with the clothes. It has to do with, you know, our baby things that we have there that are donated. It has to do with the stuffed animals and toys that we have. It's basically the operation budget for the closet, a lot of which is donated, but we do have expenses that go along with everything, you know, to run. The food program is just for what we keep there in the closet, but also what we distribute monthly.
And the other question I have, with that pantry on the go situation, we were able to get back into middle school.
The middle school asked to just send volunteers.
Okay.
They didn't want to, I needed them to be a partner because they were a partner with the Maryland Food Bank and Dulles Closet was not. But in that time frame, Dulles Closet became a partner with the Food Bank. And speaking with the principal there, it was costing their folks a little extra work, quite honestly. Their accountant extra work, some of their employees extra work. And I thank them so much for partnering, but they said, we do not want to do this every 12 months. We know that you want to do it. So we want to send volunteers and we want to be a part of it still, but we don't want to be a part of the planning. We don't want to be a part of the funding. We don't want to be a part.
So, Mr. Nordstrom, does Worcester County Public Schools are they a part of the Meals Till Monday program?
I don't know what the
Through
Meals
the
Till Monday
food
program.
So I just like to know what other avenues could be explored in your partnership with the Maryland Food Bank.
Well, there are some things that we can do, most of which we're already doing. We can order food, we can keep our pantry stocked, which we, you know, typically, many occasions, when people come in looking for clothes, they could also use some nutritional help. So we keep that pantry stocked. But we were able to do pantry on the go, which the middle school was not. They are set up as a Maryland Food Bank pantry just for the inside of the school. The Maryland Food Bank allowed us to continue to do that because they know the need here. But they asked that we become a pantry on the go and a network partner. So I'm open to exploring whatever it is that gets people food. Whatever we can do to provide nutritional assistance, because I don't want a kid to go to school hungry. I don't want a kid to go to bed hungry. And I know it happens here and it happens everywhere, but I can tell you on Saturdays that we do these events, it doesn't happen that day. And hopefully it doesn't happen for as much time as they can make that food last. And if it helps the folks in this town, our neighbors and our friends get a little bit ahead, I think we're making a difference.
I was really impressed when I went by there and I saw how well run it was. It was a very streamlined effort. The folks that came by and picked up the food were very gracious and appreciative of the job you were doing, and the volunteers were cheerful and happy to be able to do it. I'm firsthand, I've been in, a few years ago, I was in the middle school in that pantry, and I was amazed at the need that some of the kids had. And I'd like to find a way to have that addressed, because it's something that I was unaware of until I walked in and saw it, and it was earth shattering to me to see, you know, a kid take some canned food home with him, and he took two because he was afraid his dad was going to steal one. I mean,
The need is everywhere, and I was fortunate enough to be able to volunteer in that pantry through the pandemic, as well as working with, you know, the Lower Shore Vulnerable Populations Task Force. So I saw it in a couple of different, you know, the pantry and the pantry on the go models. And I tell you what, we were quite busy there. You know, all when the kids were out of school, we had lines around the block, and we do now. I mean, if you come down to First Baptist Church on Saturday morning, you'll see by 9 o'clock, the line is as far as your eye can see, down Maple Street. And it is something where people show up and they wait, you know, until we're ready to go at 9:45 or 10 o'clock. You know, we're happy to be able to serve them. And going from 100 bags of groceries and 100 bags of vegetables to 120, we gave out every single one we had last month. And I expect we're going to need to increase that number. So the city grant was very helpful in moving to 12 months. Otherwise, we'd be still be doing it once a quarter. So I really appreciate it. It allows me to do what I enjoy doing, what I love doing, which is helping people. But it also allows the people of this community to have access to food on a regular basis.
Let's partner on a resource fair, just like the ones you used to do. I remember the first one you did. We were out there with masks on before it got light outside. But let's talk about partnering with for doing even if it's a smaller resource fair.
I'm happy to do that, and we can bring in a lot of folks who we partner with, and folks that I know and all of you know, to do something here like we used to do, because they used to bring in people who had dealt with housing and health, and if you needed an attorney, and all of the things that folks needed, perhaps, and they call it a one-stop shop. And I certainly would like to bring that model back. Now that we are running smoothly here, if we can get folks to come down on a Saturday morning, and that is the trick a lot of times, to get folks to come to Pocomoke on a Saturday morning, then we can certainly do that. And collaborating, I have no doubt that we will.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
I'm gonna skip to the bottom. I'm gonna go from top to bottom, get our Pocomoke people out of the way. So Ms. Shelley Wise with the Samaritan Shelter. Shelley, before you start, I just want to tell you this. I don't think we say thank you enough. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you do. Everything that you don't say, even when you kind of feel, you know, I don't want to say slighted, but the Samaritan Shelter is, we don't hear anything, you know, we don't hear any complaints. So thank you for everything that you do. And thank you. I shared with my colleagues that when I sent the email asking for financials and things like that, you didn't hesitate to send them, and that goes a long way. So thank you for everything.
Thank you again for, I was told I need to slow down and talk loud.
Can you turn around?
So thank you again for inviting us to come out. And yeah, the Samaritan Shelter, when it was formed 38 years ago, is a community. It's not just us. It's our community that keeps it going and keeps it running. And that's why we come to the city to ask for support. But, and we definitely could not do it without the support from our community, the individuals, the churches that do help us. So I appreciate that, because sometimes working in a shelter, you feel like, we're just kind of pushed to the side because it's homeless people. Most people don't want that in their community, but we're not there just helping them and for the homeless. We're feeding people, we're clothing people, we're helping people with furniture when we have it, with things for their homes. Just last year, which I included in our letter, or in our request, the letter, I included our statistical report and our financials from the previous year. And our request was for $10,000. But we definitely can use the support, and not only is it going to help us to help people, but it also helps us to apply for our funding through the state and federal grants, because it shows that our city supports us. But last year we did serve 48 homeless individuals, and 46% of those was from Worcester County. 27% of our residents found a job, and nowadays we're finding more people that aren't able to work. So our numbers aren't as high for finding jobs and things, but we're trying to help them get into programs and different things that they're in need with. So we're not just there housing them and feeding them. We're actually trying to get resources for them. We're a very small staff of 5. We don't like to reinvent the wheel. So we actually reach out to our social services, the health departments, the Cricket Center, the different places to get those services to help them become self-sufficient again. And then in our food pantry, we did 7,836 bags of food. We served 2,374 meals in our soup kitchen and 10,881 meals in our shelter. And of our food programs, 100% of those that we serve is from Pocomo. The only thing that we house Somerset, Wycomico, and Worcester is our shelter. Everything else is Pocomo funding. But your support is critical for us. It enables us to, the shelter, to apply for the grants. It helps to keep our doors open. We're there 365 days a year, 24/7. We're always staffed. And one thing that we do our utmost is to make sure that we're not bringing problems to the community. So before someone even comes to the shelter, we're doing an assessment over the phone. We're making phone calls to where they've been, and then we send them to the police department to do warrant checks, because we don't want problems in the community. And we do our best to make sure that stuff does not happen, because we want to be there to help people, but we want to be there to help our community. So yeah, we do partner with many agencies to help them become self-sufficient. So like I said, it's not just our shelter, and you might not hear a lot about us. I'm very quiet. We kind of keep to ourselves and try to help who we can. We try not to make a lot of ruckus for the community, but we do appreciate everything you guys do for us each year. And our hope and prayer is that you'll continue to support us. If anybody has any questions, I'm free to that. But I've been there working 25 years. So I have seen a huge change in the difference in the people that we're helping. More mental health than just someone needing a job now.
What are your goals for this upcoming fiscal year?
So our goals this year are to see more people housed, of course, feed more people. We do a pantry on the go. We're only able to do it 4 times a year. United Way gives us funding, just enough to do 4 times a year. So we don't get to do a lot. But when we do those pantries on the go, we have social services come out, the hospitals come out, the health departments come out, people with the free phones and the free computers. We have many agencies, nutritional program comes out. And so it's kind of like a resource day, but not huge, because the area at the shelter is not a huge, area for us to do stuff. But our goal is to try and house more people and help more people. We find it difficult to get housing because it's just hard to find anything. And I think a lot of our shelters struggle with that and getting housing for people. And a lot of times places that they're applying for, there's so many restrictions. And if you don't make a certain amount, then you don't qualify. So we struggle with that. But goals are just to continue to help serve our community and feed those in need and house those in need, but to find the housing and the resources and help them with their addictions. There's a lot of that nowadays, and most people frown on that and they don't want help, but our goal is to make sure they get the help they need.
Are there any questions for Ms. Wallace? So I do have a comment for you and Mr. Nordstrom.
Mhm.
When I went to California, when I went to LA back in 2018, we toured Watts. And we all know Watts has a crazy history. Rodney King, can't everybody just get along? You remember they had tons of riots there and things like that. And in the very place where they had the riots, in the very place where people were losing everything, right? Now, there are gardens, not like our community garden, but there are gardens that have fruits and vegetables, and they're giving it to their community. And they were telling us how the people in their community were living healthier and they were living longer. So I don't know if it's something that you guys would want to partner with, but building out a fruit and vegetable garden, and it's always been something that I've wanted to do. And I didn't see us being able to do it back in 2018, but definitely we could probably stretch it now, but building a garden that would provide our residents with fruits and vegetables and different things like that. Because when you go to these stores to buy your fruits and vegetables, unfortunately, it's more than the junk food. You know, it's, do you buy potatoes or do you buy potato chips? You know, which one do you do? You're gonna go for the potato chips because they're cheaper. So maybe that's something that we could work on with both of you in the coming year.
Yeah, and I know like with the food bank, so during the season for the farmers and stuff, they will bring us all kinds of produce, big bins of it, and people, oh my gosh, they come and take tons of it. So yeah, but it is definitely something that's to think about because it's very expensive.
And we got Scott, our resident farmer right here. He might be able to teach us a few things, you know. We talk about wanting to learn different things, right? But teach a man, what is it? What is the saying?
Give a man a fish.
Fish and
Yeah,
help
teach a
it.
man to fish. And
Absolutely.
so it also could be something where we're also teaching people in our community how to do this. We don't know what times are necessarily gonna look like a couple years from now, and we all might need to learn how to garden, right? So maybe that's something that we can work on with both of you. Thank you so much for all you do.
You're
It
welcome.
may be a great opportunity to partner with their community garden. I know they're looking for volunteers and the like, and that would be a win situation all around.
We've actually sent residents over there. We can't get everyone to help, but we have in the past, some of our residents have went over and helped some of our board members, but it's been a while. And they have brought like fruits and vegetables to us, and we actually have their freezer there now. So if they have fruits and things that they need to freeze or whatever, they can put it in the freezer because they don't have a place at the community garden to put the freezer. So we do kind of partner a little bit with them. Just trying to get people to help more is the thing. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome, and thank you again.
All right, up next, we have Kimberly Jones from the Sturgis Museum.
Good evening, I'm Kim
Can't
Jones.
hear you.
Why you gotta do that? So I'm Kim Jones from the Sturgis Museum, and I want to say, first of all, thank you for your continued support of the museum, and your, contributions last year and years prior. So this year, our request for 3,500 is, to continue to maintain our operational expenses. Some of our expenses have went up. I did send in the initial email communication, but I apologize for not getting the financial statements. I'm working with a very small board and we are all full-time. Our treasurer is retired, but he's full-time working retired. So our current needs are for our we have a lot of things that we need to get done. So last year, one of the things that I mentioned was that we were looking into getting internet service and phone service. Well, I ran into a snag with researching costs for that. And it has something to do with the address of the museum. Initially, my understanding, the two buildings have two different addresses. So I have been trying to work on that to get the internet and phone service up, so I no longer have to use my personal phone for the museum. We also are looking into getting, security cameras. Not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I was contacted by a community member that parked in the parking lot in, well, that's the back side of the museum. Their car was vandalized, so, and it was to the closer end of where our fence is. So it's been really concerning that we're not there on a regular basis. Unfortunately, because our board and our volunteers are very limited, I cannot open on a regular basis. So it is concerning that we have a lot of valuable artifacts and we do not have security cameras. Prior to me joining, it's my understanding that we did. So we're currently looking into that. So that will add on an additional expense that we were not expecting. We are also looking into revamping our website. For the last probably 5 or 6 years, we had one individual that was donating the cost of doing the website as well as the annual cost for it. Well, I was just informed not too long ago that we're gonna have to change that. So we have to find a website designer and put the cost of the website. So we have a lot of expenses that are getting ready to add up. We utilized majority of the funds last year to maintain our operational expenses and to save for, we're in search of grants. When I first came on, we did a matching grant for maintenance and repairs of the museum. So we are looking to do that again, but I have a lot of things going on there. Our grant writer is still out. Last year I mentioned that she was battling cancer. Well, she is still out. So we are in search of a new grant writer because if I write the grant, that means I have to manage the project. And I cannot do that. So we just have a lot of things that are going on that are kind of in a standstill. But we just try to make sure that we have the funding to do those things. And in the midst, I did open up more this year. So our utilities and things have went up. We are also, I was in communication with someone and we're looking to get an intern to be able to open the museum up more between the months of March and October. Because that's normally around the time everything happens during downtown, and because I work full-time, I wouldn't be able to open up on a regular basis. So we have been talking about getting an intern as well.
So you are doing your Juneteenth event this year, correct?
Yes.
And what about,
I just put in a request.
to who?
I sent the email.
To Susan?
I sent it to you, Susan, Kara, and I believe,
You better go back and check and make sure you send it to me. Do it later, do it later.
okay, I was gonna say, I would look me.
Or I'll search for it.
Yes, so I am getting a late start. Let me say this. I love working with the museum. It has been a journey that I never thought I would have taken. Throughout the years of working with it, I realized more and more how my ancestors are. I have ancestors that went to the school. I have a picture of my great grandmother that is in the museum. So the place is dear to my heart, but I am running off of very little support outside of you all. Financially, you all support us. You all make sure the grass is cut. I just communicate with the public works for the trash pickup, but I am unable to do a lot of things that I want to do in the community. I have so many ideas. We want to do a scholarship. We want to continue the Juneteenth, but I am running all this alone by myself.
So if I can make a suggestion, and
Yes.
I know that I made you some promises a couple years ago that I just haven't been able to keep. However, we all understand why I haven't
Yes,
been able
I
to
get
keep
it.
them.
I get it.
I would definitely reach out to Susan Redden, and I would just have a think moment with her, a think tank with her.
So she did respond to the email
Okay.
because on Thursday, she told me that on that Thursday, for Juneteenth, there's a
And-
concert in the park.
And I just want to let you know that I look forward to your gala in February. I'm looking forward to the gala in February.
Me,
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Knock. Okay, I'm not gonna say yes.
No,
on
Kim is my
record,
older
but-
cousin, so I'm just picking on her a little bit. And let me just say, I don't vote, they vote. They vote, I don't vote, so,
Yeah.
so remember, we talked about doing a Black History Gala
Yes,
in the month of February.
yes,
And I know I kind of felt through on my part, but I had, I got to get the degree, I had to get finished.
Yeah.
But definitely something that we can work on. And I know I
Yes.
still owe you at least one tour this year. I haven't done my tour this year. But I'm saying all of that to say that we appreciate you because we remember, I know Miss Diane, Scott, and myself remember when the one-room schoolhouse was closed. Period. And I don't necessarily know how you got there, but I don't know how you got there, but
I can remind you.
we're glad you're there. And we appreciate all the work that you've done in revitalizing the Sturgis one room.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of people that talked about it, that did not step up to the plate, but you stepped up to the plate. And you have proven over these past, what, 3 years? Four? You've proven over these past 4 years that some people can take a little bit and make it a lot.
Thank you.
And so we're appreciative. We're also appreciative of the partnerships that you've built with the community foundations and different things like that. We're appreciative that you reach out to other organizations for donations. And I think I still owe you a couple dollars. You reach out to the other organizations for donations. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do, in my opinion. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for me, but from us, thank you. We look forward to hearing some of your ideas and where you want to take the one-room schoolhouse in the future.
Thank you.
If I could, just a second what Mayor Knox said. I know I'm new to the council, but me and Kim know each other very well. And I have done work for the one-room schoolhouse. Every year you've done the Juneteenth program, even heading it last year.
Yeah.
And just to second what Mayor Knox said, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You are where you're supposed to be. I know you're tired, but continue, please. Because like Todd said, like Mayor Knox said, we've seen it closed and asked, what about us? When is it gonna be seen? When are they gonna be able to tell our story? So please continue. Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. Todd Espy. I can't read your handwriting. From the Delmarva Discovery Museum.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you.
No, thank you. And it's nice to meet another Todd.
Do you get called Scott?
Oh my God, I've been asking people that for 20 years.
Yeah, look it up online.
No, I know. For the last 20 years, about 95% of the Todds get called Scott, and I have a theory. We have to.
It didn't make it any better when he got on here either, so.
Yeah, it is. That is our cross to bear there. Yeah. Hi, thank you all for seeing me. Thank you all for considering us for funding. I also want to let everyone know I'm the brand new executive director at the Discovery Museum. This is literally my 16th week. And I am learning a ton about the community, and I'm learning a ton about the museum and its needs and where I think that we can take the museum. Funding from the city council is not just important to us, it's really vital to our success and it's vital to our growth, not just here in Pocomoke City, but actually bringing the Tri-County area and beyond to Pocomoke City. The museum is an important cultural asset to the community. It's also an important educational asset to the community, and it's also an important economic driver for the community. In terms of attendance, we have been holding steady since 2022 at about 12,000, almost 13,000 visitors a year. That's a 33% growth in 2022. We've had, and actually the number I have in my letter is incorrect. The number is no longer 2,800. We've had over 3,100 school children visit the museum, and we are now doing a partnership with the Worcester County Schools that every first grader in every Worcester County school will come to the museum. And we are planning and having discussions with Somerset County Schools and Wacomico County Schools to duplicate that program in those two counties as well, so that we can get all of the first graders coming here to Pocomoke City and experiencing a museum for the first time. We are not the Smithsonian, but we are 100% the Smithsonian, because we are the place where kids get to learn, a curiosity for learning. And that is one of the things in our proposal that we want to keep continuing. In terms of being an economic driver, every dollar of revenue that is created at a museum generates $2.20 in 76% of all U.S. leisure travelers in cultural and heritage activities visit museums. And those travelers spend 60% more than other leisure travelers. And I can say that about 60% of our audience base, our patron base, are leisure travelers who visit the museum from May to September. They are coming here to this community and they are visiting all of the things that this community has to offer and spending that money here. Museums are also, and other nonprofit organizations, also return home $5 in tax revenue for every $1 they receive from all levels of government. We are an economic driver here, and we want to further the museum, bring more patrons to the museum so we continue to be a bigger economic driver. The Discovery Museum, unfortunately, has not had a refurbishment of its exhibits since about 2009 when they opened. Some of the exhibits are still the same. And the problem with museums are we suffer from a one and done syndrome. People come to the museum, they see what you have to offer, they think they've seen it all, and they're done. So what museums have to do is they have to constantly reinvent and refurbish themselves and reinvigorate themselves so that people can rediscover the museum on a regular basis. And that is my goal for the museum over the next 3 years. Reorganize the entire museum, to refurbish the entire museum, to have exhibits and temporary exhibits that we can continue to bring in and rotate through the museum so that people can discover new things here, and then they can also rediscover what has already been here. We want to reorganize all the exhibits in the museum, and specifically we're going to work on all the signage and rethink all of the history that has gone in to tell these stories. Unfortunately, right now, the museum does not tell its stories well. We have a lot of information out there, but we do not take a patron through a journey that they either get educated with or they get empathetic education from it. So that is our first goal, is to reorganize the museum, reorganize all the signage. We also want to invigorate the outside of the museum to make it a much more exciting space when people come to Pocomoke City. We would like to do vinyl wraps on all the outside windows, have them graphically designed, and those graphic designs would be vibrant graphic designs that would highlight things that are in the museum, so that when patrons come to the museum, they see it and it's like they're going into Wonka's chocolate factory. They see all the exciting things that they're about to experience. We also want to continue that through the museum with the signage in terms of its educational offerings and its excitement offerings. The last thing that we're doing is we're creating a lot of new educational programming. The one specifically that the staff and I are really excited about is doing the Discovery Museum on the go. So what happens is we get a lot of people coming to the museum, but that makes us a static thing in our community. We know that people travel in this community. They go through all 3 counties and even Northern Virginia County up to here. So we need to have a function of our educational wing that travels to other places, that goes to the various libraries and community centers in the county. If schools cannot come to us on a regular basis year to year, this Discovery Museum on the go would go to those schools and bring programs to those schools so that we can continue to be a force that will fill in the gaps that schools may have. And one of the things that we're doing, I'm meeting with cultural leaders in the Worcester County schools, and I'm meeting with science leaders in Worcester County schools to find out what their learning outcomes are, so that we're not just creating programming on our own, we are working hand in hand with them so that we can create that programming that's going to actively fill the gaps and actively fill the needs that they have. So those are kind of our moonshot goals for this, and any support at any dollar amount would be greatly appreciated and will help us achieve those goals.
I have a question. A couple years ago, I stopped by the Delmarva Discovery Museum. And I spoke with someone and I said, hey, listen, what does the word Pocomoke mean? And they said, they gave me some answer. So let me ask you, what does the word Pocomoke mean?
And I'll be honest, I don't know.
So there are two meanings. We're not sure exactly which one it is. So I suggested to someone that basically people would come up and guess between those two names. You do the proper research, find out which one it really is. Every donation, every guess is $2. You know, just to number one, get people in there. I know I'd show up to bet on which one or to bet on a couple. But I thought that was really good. I know that you guys have done the golf tournament. Something that I really encourage all of our nonprofits to do, and we've all done this. We've encouraged our nonprofits to fundraise. And we often say, we'll fill in the gap, but you all have to do it. So are there any questions?
I got one. Do you know what you want to change your exhibits to?
So the foundation of the museum is in great shape. The ducks, the animal work that we do, the stuff in the Cypress Museum, steamship, it's all in great shape, an incredible foundation. What I want to do is tighten all of that so that we are, for example, with the steamship, I would like to lay out in a very theatrically immersive way so that we can go through the history of steamship building. Right now, there's a lot of facts in that steamship, and they're kind of scattershot. And what we need to do is when the patron approaches the steamship, we can start telling the beginning of steamship building here in Pocomoke City from the outside. And as they go through the steamship, they learn about the history in either a chronological way or in as things like going up the stairs to go upstairs into the top of the steamship. We can also do things like, and it seems like a no-brainer, but there are people who don't know this, define the front and back of the ship with their official terms. And when you get to the other side of the steamship, which would be the otter side, which is the river side, we want to have more displays out there as we move into modern shipbuilding so that we can direct the audience through the storytelling in that way. Same thing right now, and in terms of fundraising, my position before this, I was the executive artistic director of the Fort Wayne Youth Theater, and fundraising was the bottom line for us. And I've been writing grants to redo all of our decoy duck section. And the problem with our decoy duck section is we just have it out there. And what I want to do is take the patron through a journey where we discover that the decoy duck was actually a truly American art form created by the indigenous people here, and then lead them through the indigenous creation, into the Europeans adopting it, into it becoming a tool, into it becoming a piece of art. So we can lead the audience through that. Everything in the museum is in lovely shape. It just needs to be packaged in a way that is going to generate curiosity out of people.
My son is in first grade, so he did the field trip this year.
Oh,
You know,
good.
he
Hope
had a
you
lot
have a
of
good
fun.
time.
And I appreciate the energy that you brought tonight. It's good to see from the Discovery Museum.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree with you more about how the displays are laid out. It's a lot of information there, but it's kind of disjointed. And I think sometimes it takes somebody from the outside view to be able to come and look at it with a fresh set of eyes. And I do believe that it's a story worth telling. I think it's a story we need to tell because the Discovery Center, in my opinion, is a historical, well, one of the historical pieces in Pocomoke. We're fortunate to have a lot of that tells stories of everybody in Pocomoke, and it's wonderful that we have that, and it's wonderful that our community is embracing that so much. And I look forward to the Pocomoke on the Go, or the Discovery Center on the Go. I would suggest starting with Pocomoke schools.
Oh, that's the people I'm talking to pilot that, so that we have a proof of concept and we can say,
Yeah.
this works, let's take it out. The other thing that we're doing is we want to start doing 6 separate, temporary exhibits each year in that main space that we have on the floor.
Moving these.
So that we can, so that the Discovery Museum is not just the Delmarva Discovery Museum where you discover about Delmarva's history, but is a space in Delmarva where you can discover everything else. So we can invert that thesis statement, as it were. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? I'm gonna request that you guys give me a 10-minute recess. I got my glasses tonight.
Make a motion for a 10-minute recess.
The motion has been properly made and seconded. All those in favor use the sound aye. Those that oppose, you have the same right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been there. My kids love.
Never been in.
You ain't been there?
It don't matter, I can go in.
My kids love. My kids love mac and cheese.
Not in that church.
You getting free.
I thought, say, I'm gonna go right over there.
You're getting free.
What you doing now? Yeah, I gotta teach like poetry workshop. I get off work at 7, so I just come in. In the morning? Yeah, I work overnight.
No, it's hard to beat the cheeseburger at Market Street that way.
The chicken normally really good, but I have another, had like, veins all through it and I'm smiling.
And we're back. And so next we have Tiptoe Cat.
I did speak with Neelam while we were sitting here, and she did say I could speak on her behalf. She's got another engagement tonight. I'm not technically a member of the community garden, just a very loud advocate for it. They didn't intend to submit a request this year, so I don't think you have their financials that I'm aware of. Because they don't, unless I know she spoke with you because you're my councilman, and I you know, you got the brunt of my bugging. Because I knew it was budget season. I started talking to CL. It's like, CL, you know, here's my District 5 resident hat. This is something that's really important to me, is community garden. They don't have operational needs that they request of the city, right? Other than, I believe the city provides water and occasional public works support. It's been in existence for over 12, 13 years. I think the big thing about community garden is it constantly gives back. And they don't ask for those operational needs. They're very humble. They try to get all their needs met on their own. They get support from Lowe's, the Technical High School, UMES, and other organizations. So if you look at there's 2 pavilions out there. One was built by Worcester Technical High School. One was built by Lowe's. 2 sheds, I believe, were both donated by University of Maryland. And to go back to the discussion earlier, Neelam, she sent me a message. They give over 500 pounds of produce back to the community each year. And I counted, there's about 17 raised beds there. So those are all vegetable producing beds. They're raised so that they're able to control the soil and everything. I've had some of their vegetables and it's great. I think the big thing, you know, when you're looking at operational needs, there's one need that they can't meet on their own, and that's building walkways. So walkways are a huge expense. I believe they last came before the council 2 years ago, and it was about $16,000 spent. It's a one-time expense. Once they have walkways, they never have to ask for them again, right? So the big thing I would ask is, as you're going through, I know it's, you know, listening to all these other requests and fully support all these organizations. They're all wonderful. They all do wonderful good in the community. I've seen my, you know, my own mother go from being able to walk to in a wheelchair, and that's made it painfully obvious to me about, you know, our sidewalk conditions, and the garden especially is gravel, right? So wheelchair users, scooters, they can't access that garden. So I would ask as you go through and see what money the city has available, and give what you can. And maybe they can do a phased approach to walkways. Like, so instead it was 16,000 2 years ago. I think she estimated you about 20,000 probably if it was done today. But even if you could give, you know, 3,000, they could have a section done, right? This year, maybe 3,000 next year, they have another section done. Or if there's a grant assistance the city can provide, because it is city-owned land, they have to have your assistance to do a grant. So I'm just here to advocate for that. I would love to see it. I'm a neighbor to the garden. I own 2 properties across the street. So seeing the garden continue to grow and thrive is important to me. I think it's great for the community. And as 37 new homes are built across the street, I think it's going to be critical to the neighborhood. So that's what I got.
I do want to clarify something. In the email that you sent today, it was said that they asked us for $16,000 to build a walkway. They never asked us for $16,000. I don't know if you remember, but we were requested, Chip, I know you remember. There was a request that came in. The community garden is on the city-owned property. Request came in for us to apply for a grant for them. However, the stipulation of the grant was that the community garden we couldn't sell the property for 20 years after we got the grant for the walkway. And that's when we said, whoa, no, we're not going to sign the city up for any more 20-year deals. So they didn't ask us to pay for it or even to contribute to it then. They asked us and they had somebody to write the grant for them. They just needed the city to submit it. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody. What I will say is that you had just gotten elected. So I guess it was last May when the Maryland Municipal League came down for the tour of the city. That community garden was beautiful. Beautiful.
A lot of positive comments.
And I don't know about UCL. I don't remember who else was on the tour with us that day, but I was proud of that community garden that day. If I've never been proud of it before, that day in particular, I was proud to say that that was the Pocomoke City Community Garden.
One thing I learned in talking with her is not only are there fruits and vegetables planted there, I don't think there's fruits or vegetables planted there, but there's also a big contingency of native grasses and stuff, which are important in the educational cycle of things.
Yeah, that's another aspect of, they have over 100 students come through a year. They bring them from the middle school to high school and they teach them, how to grow vegetables, how to plant. I believe they have 6 certified master gardeners on their team, including Miss Nealum, I believe Trevor's one, and they have several others. And the amount of knowledge that goes into getting that title is very high.
I was impressed by the number of school-age children that she told me come through there, and also the collaboration between the local school system from Worcester Tech and Penn schools as well. So that was good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Miss Lauren Cooper from the Worcester County CAC.
Mayor and council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'm Lauren Cooper. I serve as the Executive Director of the Worcester County Child Advocacy Center, or the CAC, formerly known as the Cricket Center. We just went through a rebrand last month. I'm here to respectfully request your continued support for our FY26 budget. The CAC, we opened our doors on Market Street almost a year ago here in Pocomoke City to better serve children and families that were impacted by abuse and neglect. It's important for us and our team that we serve children and caregivers in their own community, and it wasn't fair to require them to travel to our main office in Berlin for critical services. Our work here ensures that children in crisis receive the care, the protection, and the justice that they deserve right here in their own community. Since opening our doors last April in Pocomoke, about 30% of our caseload is made up of children and families that live here. Your support this past year helped those children and families navigate some of the most difficult times of their entire lives. We were able to provide critical services such as medical exams, forensic interviews, victim advocacy, and coordinated investigations with our law enforcement partners into child abuse investigations. The funding that we're requesting this year will directly support these services and help us ensure that no child in Pocomoke has to face abuse alone, and that every family has the access to the care and the resources that they need to begin their healing. We're grateful for your continued partnership and investment into the safety of Pocomoke's children. Thank you so much for your time and your consideration of our request. Can I answer any questions?
I want to thank you for all that you did.
Yeah.
It is amazing, the families that you all impact. I remember your ribbon cutting and just the participation and being able to tour your facilities. So thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you. I welcome you all. Please come for a tour if you're ever available, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Lauren, I'm going to contact you in June. We are doing a Back to the Future tour for the Maryland Municipal League Summer Conference.
Yes.
So last year they went to Berlin and they did a tour. So ours is going to be Back to the Future, and we're going to talk about how we've revitalized buildings that were at one point intended for one thing, and how we've revitalized them to serve us in another capacity. So I definitely want them to come. It's a Sunday, so your kids wouldn't be there.
I would love that. Actually, on that same note, the Maryland Municipal League actually reached out to me about a month ago. There's the conference or the convention in Ocean City, I guess, at the end of June. They had asked that I come and speak to everyone, and they're gonna be collecting, a summer drive for us, backpacks, essentials,
Yes.
beach towels, things like that. So I'll be there anyway to speak with them. So I'd love to
Okay.
offer a tour. Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, we want to highlight our Delmarva Discovery Center and our Sturgis one-room schoolhouse and our Marva Theater. You know, we don't think about this often, but we really repurposed a lot of our spaces in Pocono.
Mhm.
That's all I
Yes.
need.
Awesome. Thank you so
I'll
much.
be
I
in
look
touch.
forward.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Bill Turner from the Worcester County Developmental Center.
Our executive director is traveling today, so she wasn't able to be here. So I'm the finance director at Worcester County Developmental Center. I want to thank you. Last year, you provided a small grant of $600, and we were able to leverage that into over $8,000 through fundraising. And this year, we have a similar request. Last year, we had bought our first home in Pocono. And I can tell you, we've had such a positive experience with that. We now have clients and staff in that home. It takes 9 months to get that up and running. We've now bought our second home at Pocomoke, and we're looking forward to getting all our approvals out of the way. And I will say a lot of our staff live in Pocomoke, and in fact, Kim is our human resource director at our center in Newark. And so this year, our need is, again, technology. Last year, we were able to provide notebooks to our staff. We take that in for medical visits to doctors and to the hospital with our clients. We provide community integration services, employment services, and residential services to adults with developmental disabilities. And we serve about 100 clients. We now have 2 in our first home at Pocomoke. We have a capacity to a third person. And when our new home at Pocomoke opens, it'll be another 3 individuals that we can serve. And plus the staff that work there also. So that was our request, and we hope to leverage our request this year into up to $15,000 for additional technology needs for training and staffing.
So are you guys doing this, the silent auction again this year?
Yes.
And you want us to contribute for your iPads or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
There'll be computers this year. Last year, there were iPads that we used strictly just for medical services.
And how much money? You said you made 8,000 off of them?
There was we made $8,000 off that $600 seed grant that you gave us. And so this year, we're hoping to take the $1,000 and turn that into $15,000. And it means it means when we're able to tell people that you all supported us in that fundraising effort. And it goes for a very specific purpose for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, you guys do
Thank
great
you.
work.
So that is everyone that,
That's just everyone that's here.
that's everyone that's here.
Okay.
Right. We could have another night to invite some of the people that weren't here, combine that, or we can just keep on rolling. That's up to y'all. The Marva Theater couldn't be here tonight. Pocomoke Little League couldn't be here tonight. I never heard back from the Costin House.
Mike Shannon,
I never heard anything.
And
Did I send Mike the email?
I believe so, and I emailed him as well. Yep, I did. I emailed him for the vote document and for the parade.
I'd like to see that.
Okay. Yeah, and I asked him for it as well.
Alright, so it's y'all's pleasure. Do y'all
I'd
have-
like them guys to come back. I think it would be, yes, I would like the power through to get it done, but I also feel like, you know, Marva Theater, it's an opportunity to talk with us and talk.
Well, Mark wanted to be virtual, and I did say no, because I don't want people to get in the habit of being virtual. So we did want to.
Yeah, I'm for extending another invitation. If they choose to come, great. If they don't, that's fine.
Okay, so next Tuesday, the Fair Board has their meeting, so we can't have it next Tuesday. So really that only leaves Monday of next week. I can get a follow-up email out if you all want me to. And say, hey, we missed the first night, we really want you to come the second. And if they don't, are y'all cool with that? You got that? Arrowhead, you got that? Put the word out, get the word out, get the people here.
Yeah,
What happened?
I was a little confused with cricket.
Right, it used to be cricket.
Yeah, now it's something else.
Yeah.
I got it.
He was just making sure you were here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our next item. And if you all wanna stick around, I'm sure the council might wanna talk to you after the meeting. We're gonna move to our next item, talking. You've got as much time as you need, but I got about 15 minutes left in me.
That's fine. We'll be quick as you need to be, all right? My name is Mike. I'm with Talkie. Thanks for having me come talk to you guys today. I'm sure you know I'm here, right? We want to put a tower, antenna on your water tower, right? What we want to do with that is so we can get the local lower shore news channels, because we offer TV service. We have our equipment in the hut below the tower, so we can provide the local TV services to our customers throughout the Pocomoke area, lower Worcester area. Excuse me, a little bit about the company. We're in every county on the shore, except for Dorchester and Caroline. They should be starting this year. We're based out of Chestertown. We bought the old liquor building in Snow Hill, so we are a local company now. So we're establishing ourselves down in this part of the world. So that's the first thing we'd like to do. I believe you have a example of a contract we used up in Kent Island to put an antenna on. It's just a rough draft to kind of look through so we can start working on things. We'd like to lease a spot for that. That's part A that we want to do. Part B is we are a fiber optic company. Okay. But we do have a new technology that in our labs wirelessly, we are getting fiber optic speeds. So we'd like to put some stuff on top of the tower that would be able to go right to the people. We could cover the whole downtown, the whole city of Pocomoke from that water tower wirelessly. We are getting up to 1 gig and as low as 100. Okay, if you know speeds, that's pretty fast wirelessly. Okay, because that's what you're getting. Our price point would be our lowest price point to do that, which would be $69 a month for internet, for high-speed internet at the house. Pretty much where we're at.
Today we're here to specifically talk about the antenna.
Today is specifically antenna, and then I'd like to follow up with the rest of this at a later date.
So I do have a question for you, and this is one of the concerns that I had. You know that we just installed new water meters.
Yes, I was there when you guys were working. on it.
Yes. So how will this affect, if at all?
No. It would just like anybody else that leases space on your tower. That's what we do, and we're just talking a TV antenna. Is pretty much what.
And will everyone, what is the radius from the tower? What is the radius for people to receive the talkie?
From that antenna?
Yes.
Okay, so that's anybody that signed up from us. So that would go from the Virginia line all the way up to Whaleyville.
And how much is that going to be to the citizens?
That's going to be a package deal, part of their TV service that if they get TV service from it. And there's tier after tier. I'm honest, I can't speak to the price of the TV service.
Actually, for a resident of Pocomoke, for me, living on Walnut Street, this would be an alternative to Comcast.
The second part. The first part is just the antenna to get the local channels that go into the building below the water tower. We have equipment already, and then we can take it from there and push it out into our fiber optic network. The second phase, if we got the Wi-Fi antennas up, right? It's called next generation Wi-Fi. If we had that up, then we could pump it through that and push it out too. Yes, it would be an alternative.
So, and this might sound crazy, might be a crazy question. But of course, we would have to, if we would do this, of course, we would have to establish some sort of rent or, payment.
Yes.
Roughly, I saw that you had a contract with Queen Anne's County. what was the payment that you all make or made to Queen Anne's?
It was never finalized with that one. We went a different route. We started buying, for the internet, we started buying 60-foot poles and placing them in the state right of ways. So that was, it was gonna be $100 a month. It was real low because it was an antenna. So we have certified climbers in-house that do all the work, everything like that. So all we would need is the okay where to put it. And we can come up with something, work with you on price points, whatever you want to do. We can go from there.
What other places have you done this?
The antennas, we have an antenna at the Chestertown office, at our office on site. We have a 100-foot antenna we put up that got all the Baltimore channels for up north of the shore.
Any issues with interference?
Nope, no, no. Mm-mm. So once it's up, and the water tower's perfect because it's, it's up.
So we're gonna, of course, we would have to make a decision
Obviously.
in a mayor and council meeting.
Mhm.
So the timeline for this, what's gonna happen, it'll be on our agenda for our next meeting, which was 2 weeks from yesterday,
Okay,
okay? It'll be on the agenda. We will, vote on it, but it won't be finalized because we would still have to agree on the contract. So we'll have to go to our attorney. He would have to draft all of that up. So timeline, you probably gotta give us a month to 2 months.
that's fine. And if you need any information from me or talk to you, just feel free just to reach out, send me an email, phone call. whatever you
CL's
need.
got your number, so if
Yeah.
we have, if we've got any questions after we leave, because most of the time, we get questions once we get home.
Of course. I'm the same.
So I'll walk in the door.
I'm gonna be on the road for an hour and a half, so just give me a call.
Once we get home. So
Yeah.
we'll be in contact
Okay,
with you.
all right, yeah.
Are there any questions?
No, thank you for coming.
No, thank you for your
Thank you.
time. I appreciate
It
it.
sounds like a good opportunity for residents who live outside of the cable, maybe choose not to.
Yeah,
get
it gives you choices.
Yeah, and
It gives you choices.
any EMS ramifications with that?
Nope.
Or is there anything that this service will provide that will enhance their EMS system?
No, it's, if you're talking about the next gen Wi-Fi, it's based just like a fiber would be. So
I guess
it's
they
based-
could get like emergency alerts or stuff.
Yeah, it would do that. So any emergency alert system that comes off, it would come through and pump through our service. Because the only thing we don't have that you can get TV right now, we just can't get the local channels down here because we're too far away in Chestertown. The antenna won't pick them up. So if we could get the antenna down here, then it would help with that. Yep, gives you your local emergency service networks, your local PBSs and stuff like that you have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Can we get some nice blue shirts like that? On behalf of the mayor and council, everyone, thank you so much for coming tonight. What we realize is y'all are the workers. You all are what makes all of this happen. We appreciate you sitting through this. Hopefully we can establish some very healthy collaborations. One of the issues that we keep kind of having in Pocomo is that our nonprofits work separately. It would be great if we could bring you all together. Thanks, and I'm going home.
Appreciate y'all's time and really, it means a lot to the city of Pocono, what you guys do. Keep it up.